Was that a thing back when we were little? I don't even know.
It's been around for for a long time. It's just our background and our upbringing. It's not. This is
In the wrong circle.
Yeah, exactly.
We're not in the trust fund baby circle.
We were definitely rolling with the wrong crowd. So, yeah, this never came up in the conversations.
Interesting. But these are the conversations that we need to be having now for our kids.
Very important.
I think, I'm someone who, when it comes to all the terminologies, I don't feel comfortable. And I tend to take a step back. And I rely on you so much. And so I had a friend who came up and said, oh, can we talk about 529 plans? And I was like, oh, crap. I actually really don't know much about the 529 plan. I know we have one open for our daughter. I know we make contributions, but I don't really know much else other than that. So this was really informative. Thank you.
Of course. Hello, I'm Tijani Musa.
And I'm Yasmin Musa. And this is how we're doing it.
Welcome to How We're Doing It, a podcast where two first-generation immigrants authentically share their American experiences with fun and education. Suppose you're new here, welcome and thanks for joining us. If you've been with us since day one, you are our A1 and we appreciate you. Visit howwe'redoingit.com to learn more. The details will be in the show notes. So Yasmin, what are we talking about today?
Today's conversation is about 529 plans.
Okay, 529 plans, like the college saving plans?
Yes, college saving plans. So we have a toddler.
Uh-huh.
She will be 3 in October.
Uh-huh.
Well, by the time this airs, she might already be 3. And we started talking about investing towards her college when she was born.
Mm-hmm.
We started talking about it, but we really needed to do some research and figure out what plan we were going to go with before committing to something. So we actually waited until she was about a year old to open her account.
Yes. And the good thing about college savings account, look, the reality is that tuition, cost of higher education will continue to increase in the United States. And so this thing is not cheap. And so the college savings account, aka 529, allows you to save money for your kids or family members that qualify, so that when it's time for them to go to school, they have enough cash at hand that they can utilize to pay for college or other things as well, which we will cover in this episode. So stick with us till the end. We will try to break down the college savings account, 529, all of that information. And if there are any questions that we think about, we would ask the questions in this episode and then also answer them as well. So, and then at the end, if we cover everything and you still have questions, just reach out and we can try to help each other out as we figure this out. We're not financial advisors. These are experiences that we're sharing. This is what we do for our kids. This is what we've already done for our daughter, who is about to turn 3 years old.
Mm-hmm.
So how do you want to start this? Do you want me to go through like definitional things? Because technically there are 2 types of 529s.
Yes, I would love a good breakdown.
Okay. All right. So let me give you a breakdown. Like I mentioned in the beginning, tuition or higher education cost continues to go up. On average, I think college and universities, they try to raise their cost around from 4% to 6%. And so having that background information, the United States government created this 529, which is a tax advantage 529 savings plan to help parents or family members help their kids pay for education. And the 529 is basically an actual code in the IRS. Like when we talk about like tax exempt or like a W-2 form or like a 1040, 529 is a tax code in the IRS. So that's what it means, 529. And then there are the 529 are all 50 states in the United States actually have 529. So you can think of Virginia 529, you can think of Texas college savings 529. just Google your state and put 529. You should be able to find out information about 529 that is pertaining to your state. So basically, yeah, with the 529 in around 2017 and 2019, Congress passed legislation, which is the 529 plans to cover the cost of, because before the actual 529 was for higher education, so like for college. But between 2017 and 2019, Congress passed a law that allows for 529s to be also used for K through 12 education. And in addition to that, you can also use a 529 for apprenticeship program. So if
Like a trade?
Yep.
Oh, okay.
So if your kid, when they turn 18, they said, I finished high school, now I want to go straight to work or I want to get apprenticeship program, you still be able to use that 529 to cover some what they call, qualified educational expenses.
Okay.
And apprenticeship program falls within that line also.
Nice.
Yeah. So that's a brief introduction of what 529 is. And then also there's what the U.S. government calls setting every community up for retirement enhancement, which is called Secure, SECURE Act of 2019. And then there's a Secure Act of the 2019 and Secure Act of 2022, which is Secure 2.0. The Secure 2.0 compared to the 2019 one basically allows for, look, I just mentioned that you can use it for apprenticeship program.
Mm-hmm.
There's more.
Okay.
So the Secure 2.0 allows you to also use your 529 savings to pay loan repayment programs.
Okay. So, like, if I already went into debt to go to school, I can use it to pay that. Okay.
That's right. You can use your 529 to pay your loans that you owe. Before, you can only use it for college expenses. Now they expanded where you can use it for apprenticeship program as well as the K through 12. And now the Secure 2.0 Act in 2022 allows you to use it to pay for your loans.
Cool.
Yeah. So do you want me to keep going?
So I have a question. You brought up that every state has a different 529 plan. So do I have to go with the state that I'm living in?
No.
Okay.
All right. So there are two types of 529. But to answer your question, you don't have to go through the state that you're living in.
Okay.
That's the flexibility of a 529. You can go with, right now we live in Texas. If you want to go with Virginia, you can go with Virginia. The thing that you should keep in mind is that the perks of doing it in the state of residence, it comes with benefits.
Okay.
It comes with some tax benefits. We live in Texas, so if you do it the Texas College Savings 529, there are perks or tax deductibles deductibles that comes with it compared to if you do one for Virginia, since you're not a resident of Virginia anymore.
Okay.
So that's why most people would go with their state of residence.
Okay.
But you have the flexibility to do other states as well.
Gotcha.
All right. Yep.
Okay. No, we're good.
Keep going.
Yes.
All right. So there are two main types of 529 plans. All right. The first plan is called the Education Savings Plan. That's the one that we have for our daughter.
Okay.
And then there is what they call the prepaid tuition plan. Do you want me to break it down for you?
So, yeah, because they both sound very similar. Prepaid tuition. Does that mean you're choosing the school?
Okay, so the education savings plan, that's number one. And then the prepaid tuition plan, that's number two. Education savings plan offer tax deferred growth, and withdrawals are tax free when you use qualified education expenses. All right. What do I mean by that? The one we have for our daughter, right? That education savings plan. You can save money there, and the money that you're saving is tax free. And when it's time to deduct that, it's time to spend that money, it's also tax free for as long as you use it for qualified education expenses.
So like community college classes or college classes.
Yep, I can break down qualified education expenses later on.
Okay.
I know you have more questions about that, but right now, so that's number one, education savings plan. The second one is prepaid tuition plan. The difference between the education savings plan and the prepaid tuition plan, with the prepaid tuition plans, it allows you to lock in the rate of tuition now.
But where?
So okay, that's a good question. So the way the prepaid tuition plan is, you have to work with a university. So if you want your child to go, say, University of Texas, Dallas, right? You work with them. It's on a university basis. If the university allows that, you can lock in the rate right now. Remember what I just said in the beginning. Tuition rates goes up every year, about 4 to 6% every year. So what that prepaid tuition plan allows you is, you can lock in the rate now and you continue to pay towards that. You're basically buying credits. So when it's time for your child to go to college, they are enjoying the benefit of the rate of today, not the future rate.
But you are locking them into a school. I mean, your kid might not want to go to that school. Isn't that a risk you're taking if you are deciding for them as a baby where they're going to go to university?
Exactly. That's the disadvantage of doing the prepaid tuition plan. That's why most people go with the first one, the education savings plan. Because of that specific reason you mentioned, chances are, first of all, your child may not even want to go to college.
Right. Reality is college is not for everyone.
Exactly. So they may not even want to go to college. That's number one. And if they do go to college, chances are they may or may not be even accepted in that university.
Oh, so it's not guaranteed admission.
No, because you still have to do all the work to get accepted to that university.
That doesn't make a lot of sense.
It doesn't. That's why most people don't go with it, because you have to still work just like a regular student and get accepted into the university, but they would work with you. The university will work with you, lock in the rates. But most people don't go with that, because then you are basically deciding that your child is going to go to this university. Whether or not they're going to like that university, you don't know that.
Whether or not it has a major they're interested in.
Exactly. So it's a risky way to do it. But the only benefit is that you get to lock in the rate,
and
right?
It's a more affordable rate.
Exactly. Now.
Versus, in 15 years.
Exactly. So that's the difference between the education savings plan and the prepaid tuition plans.
Okay.
Do you have any questions, or you want me to give you an overview of what we just talked about?
Go for the overview.
All right. So the key takeaways are,
yes,
the 529 plans are tax advantage accounts. And then there are two basic 529 plans: education savings plan, prepaid tuition plans. All right. We got that part?
Yes.
Okay. Section 529 plans are sponsored and run by all 50 states. That's what I mentioned, including the District of Columbia.
Does that include Hawaii and Puerto Rico?
I believe so, because those are states.
Yeah.
Yep. What it didn't mention, I don't know if it includes the territories. I don't know.
I don't think Puerto Rico is a territory or a state. I think it's a territory.
Right. So I'm not sure. It just, as from my research, it says it includes all 50 states, including the District of Columbia.
Okay.
So I would have to come back to our listeners and provide that, knowledge and information if it includes the territories.
Okay.
I'm sure you can make a case for that, but in my research right now, I don't have the answer.
No worries.
All right. So these plans can be used directly, through any university in the country. And also, there are different ways you can basically open a plan. The one we did it ourselves.
Yes.
So that's basically doing it directly yourself. And then you can also use a broker or financial advisors to open the account for you too. If you don't want to go through reading all the fees or all the rules and regulations and everything around it, you can go with an advisor or a broker. Me, I like to save money here and there, so I decided to open it on our own. So that's how we did it. That's how you can go about opening a 529. And another benefit that happened, I think this just happened in 2024, actually, at the beginning of the year. Now, with your 529, do you want to know this? Because this is a big one.
Mm-hmm.
You sure? You ready?
Yeah.
All right. So with your 529 plan, let's say that your child grows up, they're 18 years old. They say they don't want to go to college, right? With the 529 plan, now you have the option as of 2024, I think it was January 2024, you have the option to roll at up to $35,000 of that 529 plan to a Roth IRA for retirement for that child.
So if my child chooses, college isn't for me, and I'm just gonna go straight into the work field, not even like a technical career or anything,
Right.
trade.
Right.
Then we would just roll it over to a Roth IRA for her retirement,
That's correct.
up to $35,000.
Exactly.
Okay.
Or let's say that, she still wants to go to college, but she's so smart, she got scholarships.
Mm-hmm.
So she's able to get a free ride to a university or college. So now you can take that 35,000, put it towards their retirement. So they're already ahead of the game towards their retirement. So they could just continue to
compound interest.
That's right. That's the magic.
So wait, okay. So since we have the Texas 529 plan, can Yazmin choose to go to a school in, I don't know, New Mexico?
Yes.
And it'll cover.
Yes. The 529 plan, the flexibility, the savings plan, you can go to a university anywhere in the 50 states.
Okay. And it's covered.
That's right. That's right. You should be able to have no issues.
Gotcha.
Yep. And I'm sure somebody out there, one of our listeners is going to ask, so Tijani, who can open a 529 account?
Well, I believe anyone can open one, and it doesn't even have to be for like your own child. You could open it for like a niece or a nephew.
That's right.
Another family member.
That's right. Anyone can open. Yep.
A grandparent could open one for their grandchild.
That's correct. You got it. You got it. So let's keep going. Any other questions you have before I keep, digging into this 529?
Not right now.
All right. So you mentioned this already, the compound interest. The 529 plan grows tax deferred until until it's time for the person that you set up the 529 for is in college or is in vocational school, and it's time for them to use that money. So until then, they will continue to rack up that compound interest, and they don't have to pay tax on it. And also, when it's time to spend that money, as long as you spend it in qualified education expenses, you still don't have to pay taxes on it. So those are benefits. K through 12 students can use that tax-free withdrawals. If tax-free withdrawals, you can withdraw at least $10,000 annually towards your education expenses, and that's tax-free. I think when you go above that, you start thinking about paying a little bit of taxes here.
So our daughter, if she decided at some point, or we decided that Islamic school would be something that we'd like her to go to during her K to 12 years, we could use the 529 to cover that?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. As long as the education space is what is that? It's accredited.
An accredited institution.
Accredited institution in the United States. So at least they know that this school is an actual school.
Yeah.
It's not just like an after school program.
Gotcha.
So yeah, as long as that's the case, you should be able to use it.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's how 529s are set up. We talked about the two types, and so we're gonna continue to elaborate more.
I have a question. So
talk to me.
Do you only have like a certain number of times that you can contribute in a year, or are you contributing pretty much year round? Any day you want to add money, you add money?
Any day you want to add money, you can add money. When it comes to gifts, like somebody giving you gifts, there is a limit that they can gift you towards the 529. But as long as you don't go through that yearly limit, you can put money in anytime you want.
Okay.
You can put money in. If you wake up every day, you say, I'm going to put $50 every day, $50. Just know that there's a cap at the end of the day. For the year, there's a cap for the year. So just make sure that you're under that cap. But you can put in money anytime you want. And when it comes to gifts, as of 2024, there's something called the gift tax implications. So the annual gift tax exclusion has increased to $18,000. It used to be $17,000 in 2023, but now it's up to $18,000. So somebody can gift you $18,000 for the year, and you can put it straight into that 529 with no tax penalties.
So that would be a gift from like a relative.
A gift
Could
from
it be a gift from mom and dad?
gift from mom and dad, a gift from your the grandparents, a gift from any family member. They can gift you up to $18,000. You can put it in that
You
five
put
two
it
nine
straight
plan.
in there. Okay.
Yep, and they don't have to worry about any tax implications.
Okay.
Yep. So let me talk about some benefits and potential disadvantages as well. Are you ready for that?
Yeah.
All right, let's talk about some benefits. So you can do the benefits of 529 compared to other plans and stuff like that. So the benefits include high contribution limit. You can put, like I was mentioning, you can put a lot of money towards it, and it's tax defer or tax free. And then the flexibility of your location. You have access to, if you go with the savings, you have access to 50 states, a lot of universities and training programs. And then it's easy to open and maintain also. A 529, like I mentioned, we open ours, and you can go with a broker or advisor to open one for you too. And tax deferred growth, it continues to rack up that what we compound interest, and you continue to rack up compound interest as the baby grow from 0 to 18 years old. And it's tax-free withdrawals as well, as long as you stick within the parameters. And it's tax deductible contributions as well for many states. So if somebody like we have a friend that gave us like $1,800 towards our daughter's 529, and they can potentially do a tax deductible based on their state. So, and she knew, she's like, I want your daughter to take advantage of the compound interest. So she went ahead and gave us the $1,800 at once instead of, because her plan was to give us $100 every year, but
every birthday.
every birthday. But she thought that it was more beneficial to just go ahead and give the 1,800 to enjoy those compound interests, which was very smart. And that's another thing you just mentioned too, because at the end of the day, you're gonna get to a point where your child may not need clothes every birthday. Your child may not need toys every birthday, but you can have the cousins, the relatives, the friends to contribute towards their 529 instead of buying toys and you piling up toys. What are the toys gonna do for you? Nothing. You can't get any kind of benefit from toys. But your friends and family members can contribute towards that 529. And you can create a link that you can send directly to them, and they can contribute directly to that link. Or they can buy gift cards. I think it's called like college gift cards or something like that. And you can use those cards to deposit the money to the account.
Yeah. And we did it for Jasmine's first birthday.
Yes.
We used those gift cards that we were given, because at the time we didn't have the account set up yet, but we used those gift cards to open the account.
Yes.
And I just sent out like, with her invite, I sent like a quick text, like, Jasmine is blessed. She really did not need, as much. And I said, if you'd like to contribute to her 529, get us, you can get her a gift card for that. And then years after that, what we've been doing is, now that we have the account, we set out the link. I know I've contributed to some of my friends' kids' college funds, because it's the same thing. They're like, oh, he doesn't really need anything. This is his 529 link. And you just, whatever you were going to give him, if you were going to spend $25, $50 on the gift, you can put that towards the 529.
Exactly. So let me talk about some of the disadvantages of a 529 real quick. Since we talked about the benefits, it's only fair to talk about the disadvantages as well, or potential drawbacks. So 529 has limited investment options. It also has different fee levels per state. So check with your state to understand how the fee are structured as well. And then also fees can vary. Restrictions on changing plans also varies. Right now, we already talked about the potential of changing the 529 from a 529 to a Roth IRA, given the situations if your child decides not to go to college, or they want some scholarships, those type of things. You're able to change up to $35,000 and send it to the Roth IRA for them as a retirement. And restriction on switching investment must be used for education expense of course, and it depends on state. Restrictions may vary depending on your state. So check in with your state. We are talking about specifically for general information, and then also we're talking about Texas because this is where we live.
Wait, okay, I have a question.
Mm-hmm.
Oh man, my question left my brain.
Ah, man. Okay, so let me give you this tip. You ready for this tip?
Uh-huh.
You aren't restricted to investing in your own state's 529 plan. I already talked about this.
Mm-hmm.
But doing so may get you a tax break. So be sure to check in with your state. That's what I talked about. So you could do the 529 of Virginia, but you may get a tax break if you do the 529 of Texas because this is your residence.
Okay.
So you still haven't, the question is not back yet?
Not yet. No.
All right. All right. So let me answer this question. So just in case somebody has this question. So Tijani, how much does a 529 actually cost? There's no price for 529. You can open a 529 depending on the maintenance fee for that plan. You can open it up with $25. And you can
So there's no like monthly fee or yearly?
No. There's no monthly fees or yearly. It depends on the investment portfolio.
I remembered my question.
What's your question?
If our daughter Jasmine decides, or not that she decides not to go, but let's say she gets scholarships. You already told me I can roll it into a Roth IRA, but could I transfer it to another child? Could we transfer it to our second child?
That's a good question. Yes. That's the flexibility of a 529. You can transfer that to another child. The 529 plans have specific transfer rules, because I can't say that word, transferability rules, and by the code. So the owner may transfer the funds to another 529 plan once per year, unless once per year, unless the beneficiary change is involved. So you're not required to change the plans. You're not required to change the plans to change beneficiaries. So you don't need to change the 529 to like a Roth IRA in order to change the plan to a different child. You're not.
So you would just change the name of the beneficiary.
That's right. You
like
can just
from Jasmine to baby number 2, baby number 3.
That's correct.
Okay.
And the flexibility is that you may also want to change it to, let's say all of our kids are like geniuses. I think that's what they're gonna be, right? And and they have like free college or whatever, right? And now all your kids can pay for their own college. What do you do? And you have more than $35,000. What do you do with this money? You can transfer this money to any other family member who is defined as the following. Do you want to hear who are the people that are qualified that you can transfer this account to?
Sure.
All right. So, like I said, if all of our kids are geniuses and they're able to pay for their own colleges, we can take that 529 account and transfer it to the following people: your son, your daughter, stepchild, foster child, adopted child, or descendant of any of them. Your brother, sister, stepbrother, stepsister, father, mother, ancestor of either, stepfather, stepmother, son or daughter of a brother or sister, right? Brother or sister of your father or your mother, son-in-law, daughter-in-law, father-in-law, mother-in-law, brother-in-law, or sister-in-law, the spouse of any of the individual listed above, or your first cousin. All these people are qualified to receive that money or that account.
But it would be restricted to educational expenses.
Right.
So I could look at, like my sister, for example. I mean, Leo's older, but if my sister decides to have another kid in the future, Jasmine's plan could go to her baby number 2 if Jasmine does not use it.
Correct.
Or if none of our kids end up using it.
Correct.
Okay.
That is correct. But we keep talking about qualified educational expenses.
What does that even mean? Can I use it to buy an apartment?
No.
Down payment for an apartment?
No. But this is what they mean when they talk about qualified education expenses. They talking about college, graduate school, vocational school tuition and fees, elementary or secondary school tuition and fees, books and school supplies, student loan payment, room and board, computers, internet, software used for schoolwork. Student attendance is required. So don't try to be a
So
ghost.
you have to go.
That's right. You can't be trying to be a ghost student. You don't show up to class and you think you can use this money for other needs.
Drop your classes at the last minute and then get the money back.
Exactly. And this is also included too as part of a qualified education expenses, special needs and accessibility equipment for students.
Oh, nice.
Because I know you wanted to hear that because you're a special education
Yes,
teacher.
I love that. Well, and I know that, I mean, they're for our kids with special education, like, the ones with like severe disabilities, or more moderate to severe side. A lot of times vocational programs, they're there, but they're very expensive.
Oh yeah.
And so they have to wait until, the Medicare, Medicaid, etc. Can help cover for it, and sometimes they can't cover all of it.
Yeah.
So the kids that I work with, that would be great for them too then, because they can use it towards one of those programs.
Yep.
Which tend to be pricey because it's like expensive babysitting.
Yeah.
Though is the way that like the prices look.
Yeah, 529 is pretty extensive, and it covers a lot of those things that you're talking about with pretty much any student. And
Cool.
so, yeah, it's pretty flexible, and that's one of the reasons why I think it was a really good idea for us to do it. And I can't wait to also set up one for baby number 2.
Yeah. I mean, you and I talked about it before she was even born.
Yes.
Like, this was in the back of our mind. When, the kids come, this is what we're going to do. And this is around the time when we want to start. We knew we wanted to start it before the baby turned 1, right? Or
Right.
around the time that she was turning 1.
Right.
And, I mean, like, I guess a question I have for you, and if you feel comfortable sharing with the audience, would be like, about how much are you putting towards it and how often?
Yeah, I'm okay with that. I mean, right now, what we're doing is based on our budget. I'm putting $250 every quarter.
So 3 months?
Yeah, every 3 months I put $250. So that's like what, $1,000 a year right now.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
which is way lower than the limit. So,
Yeah.
but based on the budget right now, that's what we're putting. That's excluding any gifts that come to the account.
Yeah, that, like when birthdays come and she gets a little bit of money, or sometimes grandparents like to just gift her, here's $20 for Chuck E. Cheese or
Yeah.
whatever. A lot of times we don't use our money and we'll just kind of store it away. And then when it's time to pay for, these, the 529 quarterly payments that we make, the contributions, then that's when we'll pull out that money and be like, oh, look, this was a gift. Let's just add it in there with that.
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, that's how we're doing it for our own house. And so we'll continue to do that for now, to do the 250 every quarter. And when our income changes, we'll definitely increase it to take advantage of the tax advantage.
Yeah.
So there's a question. They said, does having a 529 impact your financial eligibility when it's time to go to college?
Like financial aid?
Yeah.
I would assume so, because you have to report how much money you have in the bank and that type of stuff. So
Exactly. So, yeah, definitely the 529 may affect your financial eligibility, especially when we're talking about like need-based financial aid for college. The answer is yes. It could potentially impact it.
I mean, but just being real, like, I mean, I had to do financial aid because my parents didn't have a plan for how I was going to get to college. Like, I'm first generation. That wasn't even a thought that they had.
Right.
I mean, I know it's the same for you, right? Like, it was either financial aid, scholarships, or I'm not going.
Yeah. Honestly, I did not even know about 529 until we started talking about it when we're getting out of debt and what we want our kids to
Yeah.
have access to. So I did not hear, even though we went to college, I didn't hear no 529. No, nobody ever brought it up.
I don't know if any of my friends paid for college with the 529. Was that a thing back when we were little? I don't even know.
It's been around for for a long time. It's just our background and our upbringing. It's not. This is
In the wrong circle.
yeah, exactly.
Not we're not in the trust fund baby circle.
We were definitely rolling with the wrong crowd. So yeah, this never came up in the conversations. But
Interesting. But these are the conversations that we need to be having now for our kids.
very
And
important.
I think, I'm someone who, when it comes to all the terminologies, I don't feel comfortable. And I tend to take a step back, and I rely on you so much. And so I had a friend who came up and said, "Oh, can we talk about 529 plans?" And I was like, "Oh, crap. I actually really don't know much about the 529 plan. I know we have one open for our daughter. I know we make contributions, but I don't really know much else other than that." So this was really informative. Thank you.
Of course, of course. You have any other questions before I basically wrap this up?
I
That's
guess
a good sign.
anyone that's like not convinced, right? Like, well, maybe I could just put the money in a different type of savings account, or let's say like a money market, or any other type of like a high yield savings account. Like, why 529 and not that?
Oh, that's a good question. Well, first of all, a money market account, the return on investment is like low.
Okay.
So that's number one. And number two, with the high yield savings account, that's good. High yield savings account can give you anywhere from I don't know, 2.7% to like I don't know, 6%
Okay.
return on investment. And the difference between a high yield savings account to a 529 is high yield savings account, you don't get any tax benefits.
Okay.
A 529, you get tax advantages. And that's number one. And a 529, there's no cap in your interest. Like your interest based on the stocks, or based on the portfolio, based on the funds that you invest in. It could go, you can get a 11% return, you can get a 12% return annually. But with a high yield savings account, you cannot. They just don't give you that much.
Okay.
It's within a range.
Yeah.
But this one does not have limits.
Okay.
Yeah. And the other cool thing that I also want to mention with a with a 529 account, you can do what they call target funds, target date investment. The target date investment, what it does is that right now our daughter is about to turn 3, right? And I like to take risk, so I put the investment in high risk investment portfolio right now. With the high risk investment portfolio, what that does is that the high risk investment comes with high returns. That's why it's risky. Low risk investments most of the time has low returns because the chances of losing the money is low, and the chances of you making more money is also low. But when you are investing in a high risk investment, your chances of losing your money is high, and then the chances of making more money is also high. So the target date fund, what it allows is that as our daughter gets closer to college age, as she approaches 18 years, it adjusts the investment.
It'll be like less aggressive.
Right. It takes it from the aggressive side and put it to mild to low aggressive.
More modest.
More modest. Yeah. Because now it's saying, okay, your daughter is about to turn 18 in the next 2-3 years.
You can't risk it.
Let's be smart with this investment. That's the target fund, the target date investment.
Okay, cool.
But that you don't have that in a high yield account,
don't,
and you don't have that in a money
Your money's
market.
just kind of sitting there.
That's right.
But yeah, money market, it's literally just sitting there, and you're gonna make little to no money.
Exactly.
You're gonna make no money. Let's just say.
Yeah.
Say it like it is.
It's basically another savings account.
Yeah. Now with the high yield savings, you'll make a little more.
Yeah, it's better than the money market for sure.
But I think out of everything you said, the tax advantages, the ability to like choose a portfolio, the flexibility of what can happen with the money if the child is not needed, I think it makes sense.
Yep. Yeah, I think it makes sense out of those, the three of them, the 529, high yield, or money market. Out of those three, if I were to pick one, I'll pick the 529.
Cool. All right.
All right, let me wrap it up. The bottom line, what is the takeaway? Creating a 529 gives you a tax advantage, which we already talked about. So that's one reason why you should do it, and it allows you the flexibility to do the K through 12, qualified education expenses. So that's also another thing you should also be mindful of. And if you created a 529 account, remember when I said you can take $35,000 and move it to a Roth IRA?
Mm-hmm.
The thing that I didn't mention is that the account has to be at least 15 years old.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So the earlier you open it, the better.
That's right. That's pretty much the basic rule of investing.
Mm-hmm.
Time.
Yeah.
So in order for you to take that 35K out of that account and move it to a Roth IRA, you have to have opened the account at least 15 years earlier.
So if you have a baby between 1 and 3 or 0 and 3, now's the time. Now's the time, friends.
That's right.
Start thinking about it. And
Yeah.
if you have questions, like, reach out. Like, I might not be the first person to talk to about it because I'm still learning. But I think Tijani's a great resource.
Well, thanks for volunteering me to your friends.
Oh, and non-shameless plug. Or is it shameless? It's non-shameless.
Yeah.
Jasmine's birthday's coming up. So if you don't know what to get her funds for her 529.
That's right. Shameless plug.
Oh, it's shameless.
Shameless
Yeah.
plug. Because that's shameless.
I don't know why I said non-shameless.
Non-shameless.
I don't know what I was thinking.
Yeah. Hey.
I'm not ashamed to ask.
That's right. You heard it here first. So that's pretty much it. If you have any questions, like Yasmin said, reach out and we can work it together and see what we can do. That's what we're here for. Thanks for tuning into How We're Doing It. We appreciate you taking the time to listen to our stories and experiences. If you find this episode helpful, please subscribe and leave us a review. To stay connected, visit howwe'redoingit.com for more details and follow us on social media. Until next time, keep thriving and stay inspired.
Mama. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.